Oh, come on! What the hell?
Shut up, boy.
Oh, man. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Omega Files podcast. This is your host, Dr. Freedom. And this weekend, we've gathered to talk about a nifty little movie that came out in '86, which unfortunately was a success. Well, shall we say a successful failure. It did a lot better in DVD than it did at the box office. Matter of fact, I think it had a budget of over $20 million. It only grossed like 11. But it still stands out as a cult favorite. But let's go around the panel. Let's find out who's here. Let's get a hi, everybody. Let's start with BJ. You're outside. No, this is not a blue screen. It's actually BJ. Say hello, BJ.
Hello, everybody. What's up?
And the best PA in the world, Matt.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
All right, William.
Hey now, how you doing?
All right, AJ.
Hello, hello.
All right, next up, Phillip.
Salute.
Phillip, are you there?
Yeah.
You can't hardly hear you.
Okay, back to Phillip later. Harry.
Hello, everyone.
Next up, Graham.
No horse shit, Freedom. Good to be here.
Next up, the Beefhead.
Just remember what your old pal Beef says when the earth shakes. Poison arrows fall from the sky and the pillars of heaven shake. Have a whiskey.
And next up, Lady Neo.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, this movie, this is one of the ones that always sticks out in my mind because it was way different from a lot of the movies around that time. To me, it represented, oh heck, if you remember all those old, like, Chinese movies you used to watch when you were a kid, except this is like an updated version, has some comedy thrown in, lots of action. I just really enjoy watching it every now and then. It's funny, it's entertaining, but at the same time, you've got this background story about these, ancient Chinese mythical characters that are still running around, causing mayhem. All right, but for opening thoughts on the movie, let's start. We'll start at the back end there. Let's start with Neo. Opening thoughts on Big Trouble.
I loved it. I didn't even know it was a John Carpenter film. All I know is that when I saw it come on TV, I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. This is cool. Kurt Russell's character, yay. But I really liked the other characters. But overall, I loved it. And the music, too.
Matter of fact, it got a Saturn, was nominated for a Saturn for Best Music for that year. So, really good stuff in this one. All right, let's go to Beefhead. First, opening thoughts.
I love it. It's fun, like you say. It's one of those things that's typical, I think, with a lot of Carpenter movies as well. It's the wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time. And also, it's not one of those ones where it's not a case of, hey, let's come back 2 months later, 3 months later. It's something that happens in one night. So, yeah, I love it. It's fun. It's balls out. It's not afraid to cause offence, which you might have these days with PC. Fantastic.
All righty. Okay, next up, Graham.
Well, for me, it's a case of fantastic stuff. I go back and watch this at least once a year. Funny as hell. This was back when Kurt Russell was just starting to get to his peak in terms of the roles he was receiving. Dennis Din, who played Wang, I mean, there's a fantastic non-PC, all-Chinese name right there. I mean, that's just, that's the boy stuff. The comedy was great. The soundtrack was fantastic. The directing, and it's basically said, all in one night. It's amazing what you can fit in storyline-wise and all in one night. Superb stuff. With some familiar characters that would go on to wait for a certain video game franchise down the road. Nifty stuff.
And if we're not back by morning, call the president. There's Harry.
This is one movie I enjoy. And I didn't realize at the time it was done by the guy who did it. I mean, to me, it's just a great comedy. And I'm normally not one to get into comedy, but I loved it. I enjoy it. It is when the few comedies out a little bit, I do enjoy watching because I catch it. I've seen it on Showtime a few times, and it's always a great movie to watch.
Okay. Next up, Philip.
Yeah, hi. Sorry about that. I'm here. But yes, I enjoyed this movie. I remember watching it originally, and it was quite a fun thing. I do like the mixture of sci-fi mysticism, I can't say that word properly, mixed in with all the kung fu and everything. So it's a fun movie for kids and anybody of all ages, really. And yeah, I'd highly recommend it, really. It's a good film.
All right, next up, AJ.
Yeah, for me, I liked it too. It was a great movie. It was a really good Eastern Western with the comedy thrown into it. So, yeah.
All righty. Next up, William.
This is one of the ones that every year I do rewatch it. Unlike the other one that was that they filmed against, which was The Golden Child. This one always going to stand out. I mean, of course, we as we aggressively talk, this is what Carpenter did with the studios, and he got very upset that he stopped doing movies with the studios for a couple of years after this movie. But this was one of my top 10 John Carpenter movies.
All right, next up, Matt Rose.
Oh, hello. This is the second time I've seen this film because I wanted to go back and watch it all in full, and I honestly loved it. I hadn't seen this film before until this year. It's got such great mixing of action, adventure, magic, kung fu. It's just a brilliant film. Everyone's just on point. I love the actors in it. It has given me a feeling that I'd really want to visit Chinatown or someplace like that soon because I love this. I loved where it was all set, and as B said, all in one night. So, it's amazing how much of story they could cram into this film, and I just loved it. It's definitely, for a second time viewing in full, this is a film I am definitely going to revisit again. Loved it. The cast was spot on. Loved all the music. It's another one going into my top favourite film list.
All right, last but not least, live from the backyard, looking confused and lost, BJ.
What's that? Okay. Well, what I thought of this film was, I liked it. I actually enjoyed this film. It's one of my favorites of John Carpenter, and actually one of my favorite films that came out during that time. But the story, the movie was great. It had everyone said here, action, adventure, comedy, magic, and Kurt Russell. I think this was him at his best. I think him in this character role is, I think, my favorite within the John Carpenter films that he made. So, yeah, I love this film, and it's been when I watched it today, it's been first time in a long while since I watched it. So, still, it doesn't really matter because I enjoyed it, absolutely loved it, so it's good.
All righty. Now, one thing I loved about this movie, it's a great ensemble cast. You got, Kurt Russell there. You got the guy who plays Wang. You got Egg Shen. And you got Kim Cattrall before she hit the wall. And, it's really, really good, combination there. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's start with Matt Rose. Matt Rose, go ahead and name off some of your other favorite characters in this movie.
Oh, I love the David Powell. It was just so funny seeing how you see the young version of him and you see the old going like, really, it's just the same character you see when he's in that decrepit wheelchair. Then it's part of some big master plot. They has to appeal some god. But yeah, I loved it. It was just a brilliant character. I also did like Kurt Russell's chemistry with Kim Cattrall. Well, you see where it ends up with near the end of the film, and when he kept saying Wang, and I did look at a YouTube comment saying every time he says Wang, you must take a shot. So I did look at that bit. it's just a great ensemble cast. It's definitely good choices on the casting, whoever was in charge of it. But yeah, all the characters stand out for me. Can't pick a favourite because it's such a brilliant film.
Okay, next up, William. Favorite characters in the movie?
Oh man, almost everybody there stands out. They all play a great part. You got Kurt Russell, an egotistical truck driver who thinks he knows it all. Then you got Kim Cattrall, who's helping an Asian chick not be kidnapped by the gang. And then you got the friend of Kurt Russell, Wang Chi. I mean, and who you see in the film that he knows very good martial arts in it. Then of course you got Lo Pan, the villain of the movie, who in makeup he looks real good. They did a good job on that. And even the all the other characters that was there, that were the friends of Wang and all that. They played the movie very well. It was, I mean, of course, this movie got a lot of funny parts, but you notice when they do the serious stuff, they do it very well.
All right, next up, AJ.
Yeah, for me, I liked Wang because at the beginning he sort of looked like the Fourth Doctor wearing the hat and the scarf when he was first playing poker against Kurt Russell. Lo Pan, he was brilliant with his little playing game thing when he was trying to battle against egg food. Kim Cattrall I didn't like. I think a cardboard cutout could have done a better job than she did. But overall, everyone else, brilliant job. Even the giant Sasquatch-looking creature.
I know the guy who looked like Chewie's father on bad drugs or something. Yeah. Okay, next up, Phillip. Favorite characters in this movie?
Well, as much as I like Kurt Russell and Wang in the film, I was always geared towards the villains, Lo Pan and his three henchmen. They're the ones that sold it for me, because without them, you wouldn't get any action. So they were my top favorite people in the film.
All right, Harry. Harry, you with us?
Hey, I have to say I just enjoyed the whole thing. There's no one real character except for Kim Cattrall that stood out for me. All the characters in the movie just were superb all around. No one character is a major standout for me.
All right, next up, Graham. Unmute yourself, Graham.
I forgot about that. For me, it was Dennis Dunn as Wang. He stood out because, Kurt Russell was a big name. He was the A-plus player when it came to this movie, and he was basically the sidekick. So he done a good job for being the supposed sidekick. But even he had a pivotal role to play in the movie, so he stood out for me. Other than that, you had the Lo Pan, obviously, with the vast incarnation of his character. And then you had the three, what I call basically what later became Raiden out of Mortal Kombat, the three Storms, the henchmen. I think one of them was called Thunder, if I remember right. They gave it the whole mystical aura in terms of the movie, so A+ for them as well. Yeah, I heard a few of the panel members there, Kim Cattrall, all right, you know what she eventually became, but back then, she was relatively new, and it was passable. Hell, compared to that piece of shit mannequin, she's an Oscar winner on this, man. So there we go.
Yeah,
this one's her third movie she did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thunder, Rain, and Lightning. Yeah, Lightning later became the basis for Raiden in Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but if you look at the characters of the movie, because if you look at it, Lu Pan reminds me of Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and Wang reminds me of Liu Kang.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost maybe the guys who did that game, were watching this movie.
Or another one that comes to mind is Kung Lao, but in the case of Wang. Well,
yeah.
All
right, next up, Beefhead. Favorite characters?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we've taken Kim Cattrall. She's nice to look at. I spent many, if you put it in a time scale, I spent many a teenage hour thinking about her and that and Police Academy and Turk 182. She was hot. She was good to look at. Kurt Russell's brilliant. If anything, he was the comic foil, but he was more of a sidekick in this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Wang was the hero. If I had to say the two favourites for me was James Hong and Victor Wong as Lo Pan and Egg Chen, to be honest with you. It's principally the comedy aspect of it. Victor Wong, he did something very similar in Golden Child. It was a case of he would ham it up as the Oriental when he was around Westerners and everything like that, and he'd be muttering in something in English under his breath and everything like that. The same thing with James Hong. He does comedy so fantastically well that he just takes the mickey all the time. So I would say from that, those are my two favourites. Aside from that, the only other two honourable mentions I would make, and I just need to double check the names, is what's his face? Is Al Leong and Gerald Okama, who were the two gang members that, when you've got the funeral in the back alleyway. Because he was Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and the other one, he's like general all-purpose stock fat Chinese guy, to be honest with you. And he's, they're sort of, those bit part actors that you would see everywhere. And they're just iconic, to be honest with you. So I love to see people like that keep creeping up in movies as, a stock guy in the background.
All right, next up, Neo. Favorite character?
Okay, I have to point out, Graham, I loved Mannequin. She was good in Mannequin. Mwah! It's a chick flick.
Each to their own.
What it is Graham loves Hollywood. That's what it is.
But I did love Thunder, Rain, and Lightning. They were beautiful. I loved all three of them. What's his name? I think his name was Donnie Lee.
Wang.
He was good. He was good. Lo Pan, of course. Wang, yes, of course. Kurt Russell's character was good for the comedy aspect. Other than that, that's all I saw out of him. And Kim Cattrall's Grace Law, well, she was just there. She was the chick that he was going to get with.
And BJ's not back with us yet, but this was this is Kim Cattrall way back in the day. Oh man, yeah, she was really, really good looking, man. I agree with you, B.
What the hell happened? I mean, oh dear.
Oh man. Well, time had its way and gravity had its way.
Yeah.
Okay, BJ, what were your favorite characters in this movie?
My favorite characters. Kurt Russell's character all the way, and I would say Lo Pan and the I can't think of his name. The one that.
Who's that? Kurt Russell sidekick?
No, the one that was
Egg Chen.
The one that was the actor that looked like he was from like the Karate Kid movies.
Egg Chen.
Yeah, I think
Egg Chen, the older guy.
Yeah.
Those
Egg Chen in a 6-demon bag.
Yeah, those are my favorite characters at the least.
All right, next up, favorite scenes. There were lots of different scenes in this movie that really, really stand out or just funny as heck. Oh, man. Let's start this time with AJ. What was your favorite scenes in this movie?
That fight scene in the alleyway where they're trying to drive through the truck, and then all of a sudden these three guys come out of nowhere, and they try to kill them. Like, they come through lightning, rain, wind, and they try to kill them with the idea that they're going to kill them, but they obviously didn't because they were gods. That was kind of stupid on their behalf, I thought. That's all I can think of at the moment, sorry.
Okay. Next up, Graham, favorite scenes in this movie?
Well, yeah, the initial first encounter with Lo Pan when Bauer and Wang are tied to the chair. They come down on the wheelchair and you've got the initial confrontation. I thought that was pretty good, the banter back and forth between Kurt Russell and the the old fella's name escapes me, but the older version of Lopan. Like AJ said, you've got the funeral / fight scene. In fact, it was kind of funny. I was expecting to start pointing everybody was kung fu fighting over the top of that, but that never happened. When you've got the mystical side, that any time the three storms were on scene, they basically lit up the screen for me. So that's basically all I've got at present. If any more come to mind, I'll pipe up.
All right, Matt. Favorite scenes in this movie?
Oh, I did like the fight scene as well when they were all in the alleyway. One of my favourite bits is when Kurt Russell's in the wheelchair and he's rolling backwards in. It's like the well bit. And then he stops and then he just casually just rolls back up and then gets out the chair quickly. I love that bit. This scene did put me off a little bit when he was swimming underwater and you see all them dead bodies. I was like, that was putting me off because I was having lunch. So that put me off a little bit. I also love the wedding bit where Lopan just comes down on the escalator, just like in this grand way. And for some reason, I was picturing Eric Roberts as the master in that. I was just laughing so much when I was watching that. I was like, really? He's like, well, I dressed for the occasion. It looks something like that. But yeah, it's I just loved all the scenes. It's brilliant. The ending, if we were talking, I love the ending where he's just driving away. And then you see like the Chewbacca rip-off just there at the end. I'm like, okay, so this is how it ended. But yeah, it's a good film. Love it. And all the scenes are just brilliant. It's just that end bit is still baffling me.
Okay. Next up, BJ, what are your favorite parts? What are your favorite scenes in this movie?
Well, my favorite scenes are, let's see, I like the scenes. I like the scene, like the main battle at the end of the movie, where they go up it, like, well, the whole with a whole bunch of everybody fighting at the end to try to stop Lopan. And another favorite is the ending itself, like where they show the creature coming out of Jack's truck. And I would have to say my absolutely most favorite scene is one of the Lopan's henchmen exploding.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. I thought that was absolutely hilarious and everything within the film. I love that scene. So those are my favorite scenes.
Okay. Beefhead, favorite scenes in the movie?
It's hard to and not rehash what some of the guys said, to be honest with you. I think AJ hits it on the head. An Eastern Western is spot on. Has already been said, you know, the scenes where you've got Jack on his own in the cab and he's there just giving out the diatribe. He's one of these guys you've met in a bar. You've met a guy who watches too much TV and he's just like got an opinion on everything. He's a blowhard, never does anything else. The fight scene in the alleyway, it goes from a funeral. Then it starts with, one of them pulls out, it starts off that they've got nunchucks or something like that, or a sword. Then he's got a pair of six-shooters. Then you've got a Kalashnikov. Then you've got an Uzi. It's sort of like, to use the phrase with Anchorman, well, that escalated quickly. Really says it all, to be honest with you. It just goes out completely, I think, just comedy, to be honest with you. The amount of weapons that start coming out. And then you've got the three storms that pop out. Yeah, spinning forks on either hand, and then extendable back scratchers. It's sort of like deadly weapons. Yeah. The other scene that I do really like, to be honest with you, because I think it's, I don't know whether it was ad-libs. It does make you wonder that, is that before they go down for the final battle, and you've got the sort of like sword fight where they're bouncing around there, but it's when they're in the lift on the way down and they've taken the potion of that, and they're both looking at each other and go, hey, yeah, I feel pretty good. Yeah, I feel pretty good too. I think you can go kick some ass there. Yeah. That's it. You know, every time you have a couple of shots or something like that, I think everyone gets a little bit of that. But that is superb. I do wonder if that was ad-libbed, but I think it was really funny the way it comes across, and it shows the relationship between the two. They were sort of like nudging each other, going, how about you? Let's go for it.
I feel
So,
really...
there are a couple of nice scenic highlights.
Is it getting warm in here, or is it just me?
Yeah, it's not a case of who farted, do you know what I mean?
I feel really enthusiastic about this. Yeah.
I feel sort of indestructible. Okay, next up, Phillip. Favorite parts?
Favorite parts would be, as Matt said, the when Lopan comes down the escalator, and as he said as well, it also reminded me of the Master at the end of the TV movie, just for the occasion. But what did giggle me a little bit was the bit where all the little prisoners are escaping from that dungeon place, and they're swimming through the underground viaduct thing, and King Control pulls out each one. Jack, nope, off, Jack, and she keeps doing that until Jack comes along. I thought it was quite funny because. You know, at the end, she's like, "Oh, well, there you are. I'm not bothering you about you now. Let's go." And it's kind of funny. So yeah, but overall, there's quite a few funny things, funny bits in it that I like. But there's too many to go into, so we'll leave it at that.
Okay, next up, Neo. Favorite parts of the movie?
You know, at the very beginning, when he's sitting there, I don't know who that guy is, if he's a lawyer or whatever, and he does like this, and that the lightning is like the magic or whatever's happening through his hands. I was like, oh wow.
That was action.
Yeah. I said, this is going to be a good movie. I said, okay, that's cool. And then I think it was not during the major ceremony when they're coming down the escalator. I think when they're prepping for the ceremony, when they're supposed to hold the sword and it glows and they go up, the two girls. That was a good part. The part when they're like this. Shen and Lopan, that was cute, and that little eyeball, that little creature
that gets stabbed in the heat.
Yeah. Yes, that was so adorable. I want one. I'll keep it in my room.
Yeah, they had all kinds of fun with that thing. They had like all kinds of guys puppeteering it and all that, and then they had to put it on its special matte background to put out all the wires and all that. It was. Yeah, it's a character that still makes me laugh because he kind of reminds me of the Beholder from Dungeons and Dragons. So. All right, next up, Harry. Favorite parts of the movie?
If I had to choose a favorite scene in the movie, it would be where Lopan declares, "I have not one, but two green-eyed women." To me, that whole thing, it just shows the power, what he's looking forward to, something that really makes him very happy. I mean, that's just something that just appealed to me in the whole movie.
Okay, next up, William.
Well, besides, of course, the big fight in the beginning in the funeral service, I like the part when Eddie Lee told Margot that she's a naive person. That stood out. I liked it when Jack and Wayne was able to just walk into the warehouse and the security guards didn't do nothing to them. And then when Gracie and the other people tried to do the same thing, they got get out of here. They got thrown out.
I just love how anybody can walk into an office building holding a wake on an old rotary style phone and claim you're with the phone company and they'll buy it.
Yeah.
Oh heck, that's almost scary right there. Yeah,
that's good. That was a great scene. Causing the part when Jack goes with the machine gun and shoots it up in the air, hits it and knocks himself out for a few minutes.
Well, that's right. I remember that. Safety. This is the first time you ever plugged a guy? No.
No. Yeah, that's it. But I told you right there that Jack was there as a comedy, and of course, Wang was the main character of the movie. But that's what that's one of the things I remember the most. And of course, that big funny bug that grabbed somebody and ate him and pulled him back in the wall.
It will come out no more. What? What will come out no more? Oh yeah. Yeah, his character is Snake Plissken. Now, when he did the description for that, they told him, all right, he was thought Clint Eastwood. For Jack Burton, it was John Wayne. That's what he's trying to mimic when he's doing this character is John Wayne. And after you know that, it's kind of obvious. It sticks out. But okay, let's open up the floor to anybody. Is there anything else anyone wanted to throw in about the movie?
What upsets me, of course, of how much the studios put his 2 cents in it. That's what that got John Carpenter very upset. That's gonna be, he stopped doing studio films for a couple of years. I can't remember. Of course, like you said in the beginning, it was originally supposed to be a Western. And of course, the 2 guys who originally wrote it, Goldman and Weinstein, that's the way they had it. Then the studio didn't accept it, but they accepted everything that was low pan. And then they had somebody named Rick to come in and redo the film. And then they had a big writers battle, like who's supposed to take credits for it. So that's why it ended up with the 2 guys getting the credit for it. But as we know, it cost $25 million to make and only make 11. But the studio, if you go back, the studio didn't really advertise that film at all. They made, and then the way I heard it, like after the first weekend, it got pulled out at a lot of theaters. I mean, it really got pulled out. Instead of it staying for like 2-3 weeks, let it accumulate a couple of more money. A lot of it got pulled out. Luckily, he made his money from the video sales.
Yeah, I didn't see this movie till way later on when I caught it. I think on VHS because it just literally popped into the theater and then it disappeared. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, I saw the trailer. I can't remember what movie I was watching, but I saw the trailer for it. But that's the only time I ever saw the trailer for it. It just went, it was gone. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, it wasn't that bad, was it? It's like,
definitely sounded as if the studio just yanked the rug under it. So, we don't want this.
Well, yeah, like Will said as well, that first scene in the lawyer's office with Egg Chen, that was like an add-on to it, which it doesn't. I don't think it's really needed, to be honest with you, because it already clues you into Egg Chen when he's there doing the tour for all the Snap Happy Americans in the back of the bus taking a picture. I feel it does detract from it slightly in that version, but. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing bad that I can say about this, to be honest with you. I don't know if anyone else has got anything to add on it.
The only thing I can remember that it came out, I don't know, before or after the movie Aliens came out. That's why it wasn't money wise. It was up against that, but it was not a good excuse for the studio to take it off the theaters that fast.
No. No.
Yeah,
because that other guy I mentioned as well, the big fat bald guy, I can't remember his name now, the big fat bald guy with the goatee beard. You do have a sort of veritable who's who type thing of Asian American actors in that. And he's quite famous, I think, for designing his own weapons or coming up with ideas of weapons and stuff. He actually came up with the ideas of some of the ones that they used in the films. If they look at it, they look a little bit fantastic, the sort of half moons type daggers and everything like that. He designed them and came up with them as well.
Yeah, did he do a lot of those Shaw Brothers kung fu movies we grew up watching?
Yeah, and obviously, this is iconic as well because I think the shirt that Jack wears in this shows up in Tarantino's Death Proof. Is it Death Proof? It's framed in the back of the wall as well.
All right. There you go.
Yeah, I was just reading a little bit about this a while ago. About he, especially on the music, he wanted to avoid the usual cliches, such as quote, "Other scores for American movies about Chinese characters are basically rinky-tink, chop suey music. He did not want that for Big Trouble."
No.
So he instead opted for his trademark synthesizer score mixed with rock and roll. But the scary part is if you listen to the ending song of the movie, that was a band I think composed of him, Tommy Lee Wallace, and I can't remember who else did the ending theme song.
yeah, they call themselves the Coupe de Villes.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Coupe de Villes. Yeah.
Wasn't the one of the guys as well who did all like the fight arrangement? He ended up doing some of the stuff in Kill Bill as well. He was one of the main tongs as well, I think, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah. So yeah, this movie was ahead of its time as far as I'm concerned. It's a nice, entertaining movie. It's good for the whole family. Sure, there's a little bit of fighting in it, but there's nothing tremendously gory. There's no real well. Do you count Thunder blowing himself up? But
No, really. I mean, you know,
that was more cartoonish than it was.
Yeah.
I still really enjoy this flick. Yeah. Boom. Like he was holding in, maybe he was holding in a fart or something. It's like, you know. Oh. Okay. Anything else anyone want to throw in?
You know the part when Lopan finally turns human and Jack throws the knife, and he's like, "Goodbye, Mr. Burton." Boom, and then he throws it right back. I mean, really, they couldn't make that longer. I expected something amazing, like him jumping up and doing moves or letting some magic out or something. But no, they had to make it short. And,
Yeah, but he was a sorcerer. He wasn't Bruce Lee.
No, I mean, I expected him to use some magic or throw it back at Jack with lightning to it or something. You know, something.
You know what? I agree with Neo in a small sense. It was kind of a quick death for your main protagonist, man.
Yeah.
But other than that, I kind of grumble.
That's the only
it's all in
thing
the reflexes.
Yeah.
But
and that phrase stuck after that film. It really did stay.
Yeah, it's all in the reflexes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, though, the final battle more than made up for that. Again, you had Wang flying through the air with Rain.
Yeah.
Sword fighting midair as they flew along, and then you had the ultimate demons. You had Egg Shen running around there throwing these little magic bombs, blowing people up. It's like, I think that final battle more than made up for it.
Yeah.
And what was Kurt Russell doing? He was stuck there. That's the thing. He was the comedy in that. For all the action there was, he's there stuck with his foot in someone purely by accident. There's only one person he kills intentionally in the whole bloody movie, which is
Which was funny as heck because he worked his butt off to get in shape for this movie, and then he ended up just being the fall guy through 90% of it.
See, I don't think it was a comic foil. I think he was more of a fish out of water kind of character.
Or you could say he was a hero who always falls on his ass.
Yeah, Wang was the real hero of this movie as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Because also Kurt Russell had sort of like very bad flu and everything like that, I think, during the production. So that, where it looks like he's sweating, he's actually just completely feverish through the whole production as well. Especially towards the end when you've got the final battle and that. That's why.
Well, there you go. That's a tidbit for you. He was feverish.
Okay. Anything else before you rate this sucker? I guess not. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get to it. It's that time again.
We pay our taxes.
Yeah. Where we pay our dues and the checks in the mail. Okay. First up, BJ, out of 10, how do you rate Big Trouble in Little China?
I rate Big Trouble in Little China. Let's see. I rate it an 8.
Okay, that's a good one. Good start. All right, let's move on to Neo. Out of 10, how do you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 because of that Lopan bit. But other than that, it's a really good movie.
All right, Beefhead.
That says it all for me. Do you know what I mean? It's a 9 out of 10. I thank the Lord for late night TV and VHS, to be honest with you, because like you guys have said, it was in the screens for such a short amount of time. And I think the first time I watched it was like 2:00 in the morning in the late 80s, to be honest with you, and that's where it's gained its following. Everything like that. I don't think you would necessarily get a movie like this made now, because you've got such great sort of varied amount of Asian American actors, and there is a little bit of pastiche that now you would say is I'm not PC, not politically correct, where they're making fun of their own culture. You wouldn't get that now because audiences are too sensitive. And thankfully, John Carpenter made films like this, and to a certain degree, in more recent years, has made other films like it. Ghosts of Mars as well, where you've got a little touch of that. Vampires, I love this movie. So it's a definite strong 9 out of 10 for me, mate. Superb movie.
All right, Graham.
I'll just briefly pick Beefhead up on this point now. If they ever remade that sucker, the guys' name wouldn't be Wang, that's for sure. For me, As I say, watch it once a year. Cult classic. Really enjoyable. Go watch it if you've not seen it. 9 out of 10.
Okay, Harry.
8 out of 10. And you'd never see a remake of it. It just, the way it's set up, just would never go over.
No.
As mentioned earlier, PC and everything, Anybody tries to do a remake of it, direct to DVD release, it would never see this light of day at the movie theaters.
Fair point.
All right, Phillip. Out of 10, how do you rate it?
Well, I'm going to give it a solid 9 because it is an enjoyable movie. There are, like everybody says, there's funny parts to it. There's all sorts of things to keep you captivated by it, and the acting is quite stellar. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
Okay, AJ, out of 10, what do you give it?
10 out of 10 for me.
Awesome. Okay, William.
As I said, this is one of my top 10 John Carpenter movies. I give it a 9 out of 10.
All right, and Matt Rose, out of 10. And what do you give this movie?
For this being my second John Carpenter film, and I've gone away enjoying it so much, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. This is one I am going to revisit sometime again.
Yep, I got to echo that. This movie, I got to give it a 10 out of 10 because no matter how many times I watch it, I still enjoy it. I watched it like 2-3 times this week, and I still, laugh and chuckle, during certain scenes. I still, sit there and marvel at, some of the action, the stuff they pulled off, with the effects, considering that Carpenter even complained about, he said he felt that they didn't put enough into the effects in this movie. I don't know. I think he's wrong. I think they carried it off pretty well because I enjoyed the heck out of it. So, love this movie to death. Well, guys, next week, we're going to go back in time just a few years. And we're going to go far, far away from Chinatown. Next week, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Ooh. Yeah! Ready, beef. Brian, simmer down.
So I hope you all, sit down and enjoy that. Plus, when you are watching The Thing, one of the things that I think about when I watch this movie is the fact there were no CGI effects at that time. They had to do all this manually on set with practical effects. And that right there still wows the crap out of me.
That's why the 82 version beats the one that came out in 2011.
Yeah,
exactly.
It just felt to me like a cheat because you can see where all the CGI effects is, whereas when they did the original, it's just like, oh gosh, how many here have seen the remake of The Fog? That made me want to gag.
No, don't stop.
Oh, please.
But that's coming up in a few
when we review it, we're going to compare notes between those two movies.
Yeah, if you want to, we can compare notes between those two. Yeah, the old and the new one, because I hate to say it, but the old one beats the crap out of the new one by a light year. But,
I don't think I've seen the new one.
I've seen the new version.
I don't think I've seen it either. I'm not sure.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, John Carpenter, all he did was, I think he just produced that one. I don't think he had anything to do with it, really, though. I think they just stuck his name on the credits because he did the first one. That's all I remember. Because he didn't direct it. He didn't really have much to do with it. It was just a complete remake. And it was, oh gosh,
it's not like a remake. It's supposed to take place before.
It's a prequel, isn't it?
Yeah, a prequel.
No, I'm talking about the Fog one. But the thing.
The Fog don't mention that.
Thing's a prequel. It didn't do too bad. Maybe we'll have to compare notes on those two if you want.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Watch the new thing and then watch the old thing, and maybe we'll just jostle it around between the two. Maybe what they missed, what they screwed up.
Boy, did they screwed up in that 2011 one. Mm-hmm.
So be sure to watch The Thing.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Well, guys, until next week. Everybody enjoy your week. Have a good one. On behalf of myself and everybody else. Well, then again, I better get goodbyes from everybody real quick. Why not? It's a tradition. All right, let's get goodbyes from BJ. Say goodbye, everybody. Say bye. Bye, okay, Lady Neo.
Bye.
Good.
I never drink faster than I can see, but just remember, it's all in the whiskey and the reflexes.
All right. Graham.
Ditto to what the beef just said. Adios.
All right, Harry.
Farewell until the next time we all get together.
All right, Phillip.
See you next week, and please don't mistake The Thing for The Thing in Fantastic
The Thing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, AJ.
Funny it from down under.
All right, William.
Women go and men plunder.
Thank you for having me here. Can't wait to be here next week. And OSOBs must pay.
All right.
Whoa.
And lastly, Matt Rose.
Au revoir, people. Au revoir.
All right. So take care. Have myself and the others. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Aye, aye.
Peace out, everybody.
All right, Brian.
And